Hello everyone, welcome back to this cloud architecture interview series. This is interview question 9. Again, this is related to Docker, Kubernetes and those stuff, basically container and cloud native stuff. This question is more directed towards basically image management, in a sense how to manage Docker images in your environment. This is also a question that I got again from another startup that I interviewed with 6 to 8 months back. For mostly a Kubernetes kind of a role. Okay, so coming to the question, your company has invested in Docker and Kubernetes extensively. All development teams are creating Docker images. You just got notified that the base image that a lot of your teams use has been upgraded to a newer version to take care of a critical security vulnerability. How can you manage this? As a cloud architect, what are some of the best practices that you can put in place to ensure that proper security patches or OS plus framework updates are pushed into a system without any impact? So say for example, you have a Docker file. That Docker file has a from statement, say from Alpine 15:0. So where is this image residing? Normally this base image is residing in Docker Hub, okay, which is the anonymous kind of anonymous authentication. You don't need to put any authentication or anything normally, and these are all officially approved images which are lying in the Docker Hub. But say for example, you and all of your resultant images that are created within your organization and maybe stored in something like an Azure Container Registry, they are all dependent upon this base image. Okay, so they are dependent upon this from Alpine image. Now say this Alpine image was version 15. Now, because of a serious vulnerability, say for example, just as an example, a Log4j vulnerability, they have upgraded it to 15.2. So what do you do? All your images are still created using 15, right? Yeah, they are still created using 15. So here what you can do, and so basically this is the question: how do I push all my OS and framework updates, okay, into the system? Earlier, what we could have done, we could have patched all the VMs, right? But with immutable architecture with Docker, we just need to patch the base image basically and ensure that once the base image is updated here from 15 to 15.2, it creates another pipeline, okay, it triggers a pipeline that basically updates all my new images which were created from, say from the base image, I have created 100 images. So ideally, I need to recreate all those 100 images using this new base image. Okay, so all of the documentation here, if you go through it, it has a lot of mentioning. So now I will tell you something which is a manual way. So if you see the manual way, so I will show you. See what is this manual way. So you can see the manual way is you again one second. See, you stop the container, okay, whichever was running, you remove the running container, okay, you pull this new image version 8.0.22, this is the latest version you pull, okay, you pull the new version, very good, and then you launch the updated, you again run the container. So this is a completely manual process, okay. So the base image is there and you are again downloading that base image and you are just doing what you need. But this is not the way we want to do it. So how we want to do it? So if you see this OS and framework patching with Docker containers, a paradigm shift. Okay. So if you see one thing, in the VM world, we patch workloads by hosting the VM. The developer hands the app over to operation who deploys it on a VM along with the list of dependencies that must be applied to the VM. Right? Ops takes the ownership, hoping the patching of OS and framework does not negatively. So this is how. Now in what happens when we are doing in a, so if you see, while you could just apply a patch to a running container, this falls into the category of just because you can doesn't mean you should. In the container world, we get OS and framework patches through base image updates. Our base images have stable tags that define a relatively stable version. For instance, this image has tags 1.0, 1.1, 2.0. The difference between represent functionality and capability changes. Moving between these tags implies there could be a difference in functionality as well as expanded capabilities. Okay. So patching containers in the build pipeline. In the container workflow, we continually build and deploy containers. Once a container is deployed, the presumption is it is never touched. the deployment is immutable. To make a change, we rebuild the container. We can test the container before it's deployed. Okay, so this is again, so in container workflow, what we have to do, see, we need a source that provides the notification. We then build the system, build an image, and then we store the registry. So basically what is supposed to do is that we need some sort of a mechanism, okay, either inbuilt provided by some sort of a cloud service provider, or a mechanism that we have created in-house, which basically notifies us whenever a base image gets updated. So say I have a base image 1, and as soon as there is a new update to that base image from 1 to 1.2, I should be getting a notification. At that point, I will be rerunning all my pipelines. Okay, I will be rerunning all my pipelines, and I will again get new images, because this is the way you need to do. You should not patch running containers. You should patch your image and then create new containers from that image, and those containers will get the new patches or security updates or whatever. Another very important thing which you can see in this document, okay, is that what many people are now suggesting, okay, is that you should rather not use the public content, rather import an image from that public Docker Hub into your own private registry and then monitor that only. So for example, you can do something like ACR import. So what it is doing, this is the Docker public registry. From there, it is importing into this new registry using this. This will help you basically. Okay, this will help you in a lot of ways. Why I will see, there are many errors that you can get when you are using Docker Hub. Docker Hub becomes a single point of failure and a lot of things. But if you have it in your image, it's under your control. So you get a stable version of your image which is in your registry. Then what you can do, then you can trigger, okay, automate container image builds when a base image is updated in an ACR. So if the base image gets updated in ACR, ACR will automatically trigger all further images which are dependent on this base image. So this is very simple to do. Okay, I will show you one thing. So you are building the base image. Okay, now this is the application container. One second. Now you update the base image. So you have updated the base image with a new environment variable just to simulate a new base image. And then once you update the base image, you will see that a trigger of image update again resulted in another image. So basically the idea is very simple. The idea is, I cannot think of this cloud native world just like how I used to think of it in a VM world. In a VM world, there is a security patch. I go and I RDP into the VM, or I push them via some sort of a configuration management tool like Chef, Puppet, Ansible, and I push this this new update, this new security patch or whatever framework update into all these running VMs. So I don't shut down the VM on stuff. That is normally how we do it in the VM world, because VMs are meant to exist for a longer period of time. That is why VMs are exist. But containers are more ephemeral, right? They're supposed to start, stop, start, stop. So here you need to take some sort of, you need to change the narrative a little bit, and you need to ensure that your base image that is creating the container, the image that creates the container, gets updated, and that image is dependent on a base image. So if that base image gets updated for any reason, then you need to basically rerun the pipeline which creates your container image from that base image. Then you use that container image to again deploy the container. So this is the pipeline that you need to follow every time your base image gets updated. Another very important thing which is not directly related, when we do a from, okay, and this is very well mentioned here. Okay, so if you see this one, so this latest tag, when we do say a tag :1, we think, say our image is from image :1, meaning we think that it is pointing to a standard image, a single image, but no, it is actually changing. As you can see, this :1 will be 1.0 first, then 1.1, then 1.2. This is very important to understand. Okay, also that every single build that you are doing from a base image, that you are relying on from a public registry, any one which you are not creating yourself in your private registry, any image that you are creating, you are using from a public registry. Every single build can result in a different container image. Every single build, even if you are running the same build, same tag, but underneath that tag, the actual framework, the actual libraries might be different, because those are small patching that is done by the team. But the idea is it's still a stable version. So you can go over this. This is a little bit more complicated, so I did not want to discuss in that much in detail. But the idea here, see the question when I was asked, okay, I was not aware of this automated stuff and this notification, so I could not answer it in this depth. I read about it later. But the idea that then I asked the interviewer that, okay, I mean at the end of the interview, that okay, is this what you are looking for? And he said mostly that, okay, but he was saying that what they have done in their startup is that they have actually created this notification kind of a engine. So whenever a base image gets updated, okay, so they first store a base image in their own registry. They don't rely on the public Docker image. Okay, now when the public Docker image has a update, they sort of redone their pipeline. What does that do? That again imports the base image from the Docker registry. Once that base image gets updated, all the pipelines which are creating images that are based on that base image within their private registry also get updated, and then they finally get deployed. So it is kind of like, for example, you will see using Packer, HashiCorp Packer, many people are implementing a golden image pipeline. So when every month, at the beginning of every month, or maybe at the second Tuesday for Windows VMs, Windows images, every month all of these companies, they release new patches, right? So all of those golden image pipelines, so say for example every month on the second Tuesday, all your pipelines will run and create new images. Okay, so those new images will contain the latest patch and everything, all your configuration, and then it is up your duty to basically push that image into your VM, so that your VM always gets the latest patched image. But you don't update the VM directly. You can do that also. You can update the VM, patch the VM directly also. That is something that is very widely done in VM space and in traditional IT. But with this idea of VMs being more like sheep, like cattle rather than pets, so the pets versus cattle analogy. Okay, so VMs, people more and more, we want the VMs to be like, we can delete them and again create them. They should not store any state or something. We should at any point of time be able to recreate our infrastructure. So from that perspective, if you are there already in your infrastructure as IaaS layer, already you are at that level, then you will be able to connect more to this container, because containers are more like that. They are supposed to go down and go up at every moment. So why should I patch 30,000 running containers? I will rather patch the image. I will create a new image and then I will deploy this image, and Kubernetes or my orchestration will take care of updating the image either via rolling update or something like that. So this is the most idea. If you have any questions, this is a much more complicated topic and it's very difficult to delve into the depth of it in this small time. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Thank you everybody. Have a nice day.